In 1896, Nikola Tesla came up with the idea that radio signals could be used as a means of communication with extraterrestrial life. Then, in 1959, an article in the British journal Nature by Giuseppe Cassoni and Philip Morrison talked about searching the microwave spectrum, along with a list of proposed frequencies and targets. A year later, the first SETI experiment was performed by an American astronomer named Frank Drake. The experiment, called Project Ozma, involved a 26-meter radio telescope, aimed to examine the 1.42 GHz marker frequency. Although he found nothing of great interest, he is often hailed as the founder of SETI. The following year, a conference took place at Green Bank, with both the Soviets and the Americans showing strong interest in the SETI projects. In 1963, the world's first Krauss-style radio telescope was powered up. The Krauss-style telescope, also known as the Big Ear, took up an area of more than 3 football fields and was designed to scan the cosmos for natural radio signals using a flat plane radio telescope equipped with a parabolic reflector. In 1971, NASA and several successful businessmen funded an operation involving an array of telescopes known as Project Cyclops. Due to its high costs, Project Cyclops was cancelled during its planning phase, but its design became the basis of several SETI projects to follow. In 1973, scientists at the Arecibo Observatory sent a message towards the globular star cluster M13, 25,000 light-years from Earth. 4 years later, American astronomer Dr. Jerry Ehman witnessed an unusually strong signal hit the telescope while working at the Big Ear. He had spotted a peculiar pattern in the logs, a pattern which has not been detected again since its first discovery. He printed out the data and scribbled the word "Wow" in the margin. This was a major breakthrough in SETI, and the signal is now known as the WOW signal. Suitcase SETI was a high-resolution spectrometer, an instrument that separates light signals into different frequencies. It was developed in 1981 by a team of scientists at Harvard, led by Paul Horowitz. Suitcase SETI was later put into use alongside the 26-meter-long Smithsonian Radio Telescope at Harvard. Suitcase SETI was followed 3 years later by META, a mega-channel extraterrestrial assay. Funded by Paul Horowitz and Steven Spielberg, it was known for its ability to distinguish between terrestrial and extraterrestrial signals using its frequency Doppler shift. Due to its success, a META 2 was created in 1990 and has been operating since an upgrade in 1996. The Allen Telescope Array is the result of a $35 million project to create a radio interferometer in order to study astronomical observations and extraterrestrial signals. When completed, it will consist of 350 radio antennas and will be capable of interpreting large amounts of data and scan a much vaster area of the radio spectrum. It was designed to aid astronomical advance, with the goals of the project including the classification of 250,000 extragalactic radio sources and scanning the 40 trillion stars of the intergalactic plane for extraterrestrial signs. The NASA Microwave Observing Program, also known as MOP, was a long-time effort by the US government to search 800 stars as well as conduct a general survey of the sky. The project involved the use of radio antennas associated with NASA's Deep Space Network, the National Radio Astronomy Observatory Telescope, and the Arecibo Observatory Telescope in Puerto Rico. The signals received by these telescopes would be fed into appropriate spectrum analyzers analyzers, which would have different bandwidths depending on their input type. However, the program was ridiculed by the US Congress and was cancelled only a year after its 1992 debut. Nevertheless, the project later resumed under the name Project Phoenix and continued with private funding. From there, the project moved on to observe the equivalent of 800 stars and picked up transmitters 200 light-years away.